Hey there, welcome to the UkeStuff channel and welcome to this tutorial video for the play-along videos of Waltzing Matilda, the version that comes from Civilization 6. So as I was preparing another version with the singing version of Waltzing Matilda, this version popped up and I loved it so much that I decided to make a play-along of this one too. So at the moment there is no chord sheet for this, although I may just put up the chords and the melody separately on UkeStuff.info. If you look at my tabs, it should be there as well, and it'll just be labeled as Waltzing Matilda, and it'll have the melody sort of tabbed out, especially for GCEA soprano concert tenor ukulele. But as a warning, the tabbed out melody will jump up the octave for the notes that a re-entrant ukulele cannot play. All right, so what we're going to do in this video is we'll look at the chords you need for soprano, concert, or tenor ukulele. Then we'll look at the chords you need for baritone DGBE ukulele, and then we'll talk strumming a little bit. If you want to support the work on this channel, there are three things you can do. Number one, you can like the video. Number two, you can subscribe to the channel. And third, you can always buy me a cup of coffee to say thank you for making this content at buymeacoffee.com/ukestuff. All right, let's begin with the chords you need for soprano, concert, tenor, GCEA ukulele. I'll be using this instrument. This is my Opio, Koholoa Opio concert ukulele. It's solid acacia. All right, the first chord you need is the C chord, then the E7 chord. It's one of my favorite chords. And what I do is I rotate my wrist up to rest my hand against the headstock. I love that little curve there in the Koholoa. And then you just put your other two fingers down around it. That's your E7 chord. Then your A minor chord. Then your F chord. Then your D minor chord. Play your F chord and add a finger. Your G7 chord. Your Hawaiian D7 chord. And your A7 chord. So overall, a very accessible set of chords on soprano, concert, tenor, ukulele in the key of C, with a couple of different chords and an expanded palette versus just your most C, F, G, and A minor. All right, now let's take a look at the chords you need for baritone DGBE ukulele. For baritone ukulele, I'll be using this instrument. This is my Tom concert ukulele. It actually has Pepe Romero baby baritone strings that allows me to tune it like a baritone ukulele. All right, so the first chord you need is the C chord, then the E7 chord, then the A minor chord, which is just like the C chord with an extra finger. Then really one of two hard chords here. The first is the F chord. Now, it's a bar chord. Don't freak out about it. You will get it. Practice it, but let me help you. First of all, if your action is really high in your baritone, meaning the height of the strings over the frets, at the first fret it should only be like 0.5 millimeters from the bottom of the string to the top of the fret. If it's taller than that, it's going to be hard to press down. It's going to hurt your fingers, and it's going to pull the ukulele out of tune. So having a good setup is important. So if your ukulele has never been set up, think about either learning how to do it yourself or taking it to a luthier to have it set up, especially if it's not to spec. So really 0.5 millimeters at the first fret, really no higher than 3 millimeters, probably more like 2.65 millimeters at the 12th fret is what you're looking for in terms of action string height. So beyond that, here's the tips. And a lot of this goes to Craig Chi, who's a great teacher, married to Sari Maisel, and he runs all sorts of ukulele stuff in Hawaii now, including their own ukulele retreat. They're online all the time doing different things. But Craig Chi taught me this, and it makes so much sense in terms of bar chords. So what you want to do is take your first finger, put it across strings 1 and 2, right above the metal first fret, and then pull against the fretboard. Use leverage. If you do that, you get most of the sound you need, and you're not having to press like a vice and hurt your hand. So if you're pulling against the fretboard and then you add your thumb, you're just using leverage and you're not hurting yourself at all. Then you just add 2 fingers and you've got the F chord. Then there's the D minor chord. And it took me a second just to think. I was thinking D minor on soprano, concert, tenor. But it may take you a second or two to learn how to put your fingers in that order, but it's an accessible chord. Then a G7 chord, which is part of that D minor chord. Then a D7 chord. And then an A7 chord. And that's the other bar chord. And again, same principle applies. First finger across all 4 strings right above the metal second fret. pull against the fretboard. That gives you most of your sound. Add your thumb for a little bit of support so you don't have to feel like you're pressing in a vise or hurting your hand to do it. And then add your second finger to the first string, third fret. That's your A7 chord. And those are the chords you need to play Waltzing Matilda as appears in Civilization 6 on baritone DGBE ukulele. Now let's talk about strumming. Now, as it comes to strumming, one of the reasons I fell immediately in love with this song is because the strumming is so basic and simple. It's either 2 strums per chord or 1 strum per chord, with the exception of the long didgeridoo intro, and there's another spot that it appears. When the didgeridoo is sounding, you have 2 choices. Either you can play the C chord and just sustain it, and basically just taking your finger going up, down, like that. Or you can start by playing on GCEA, the open 3rd string, and just keep picking it. And eventually then you'll also add the G to it, so strings 4 and 3, because you'll hear those notes appear with the didgeridoo. Now, what about baritone? Well, let me show you. With baritone, what you're going to do is you're going to put the first finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string and play that note. And then, later on, when you're asked to, you'll play string 3 open with string 2. And you can just rotate over and over again. Or you have the choice again with baritone of just playing a C chord and rolling the chord, which just means moving your finger up and down lightly over all the strings until you get to the next part of the song. All right, and then once we're to the main part of the song, it's basically 2 strums per chord. So it's going to sound like this. And the only difference there is the last ones on the end. You get a D minor, G7, C at the end. So that's really fun to play, and it's a pretty simple chord progression, whether you're playing soprano, concert, tenor, or baritone. Yeah, you'd have to worry about the F and the A7 on baritone, but you'll get it, you'll get it. And again, it's just 2 strums except for the last 3 chords. And then there's some other spots in the song where it shows a single down arrow to play and strum, but it's so fun to play along with. So here it comes again. Yeah, pretty simple. So with those strumming and the choice of what you want to do with the didgeridoo part and the chords, that's all you need to know to play Waltzing Matilda as appears in Civilization 6. Thanks so much for joining me for this video. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll be back soon with some more Uke stuff for you.